Welcome everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Tania, for joining us today in this special recording about the feminine energy. And we will go deeper into feminine energy and how we can heal and balance the feminine energy. First, let me introduce Tania. Tania is the founder of Earth's Heaven, organization for women empowering. And today we will go deeper into some points, which is what is the feminine energy, what is the shadow side of the feminine energy, how to know the feminine energy is balanced or unbalanced, and how to use the feminine energy in the right way, and how to balance the feminine energy. Can we start? So the first question is, what is feminine energy? Can you please explain more about the feminine energy, please?
Thank you, Alan. Thank you. So happy to be here. And I think this is a very important topic, especially nowadays, when we observe lots of imbalances in feminine and masculine energies. So we can see lots of women who step more in their masculine power. And we also can see lots of men who giving away their masculine power. So the understanding of how our internal energy works might help people to navigate their daily challenges. Because sometimes we might see the situation when woman who was led by the social norm of achieving and doing all of the things by herself. So she's like a really boss lady. She has a nice job, she has a nice car, but at the same time she's deeply unhappy inside. She's struggling with woman health. She doesn't know what she wants, and if somebody looks from a side, they think, oh my god, this woman has everything, but on real she might be in the very dark point. And this is actually the case where she stepped into the masculine energy so deeply that she lost connection with herself, with her feminine power. That's why she might feel heavy, she might be depressed. That's why she might be struggling with relationship and with her woman health.
Mm-hmm. So can you explain more deeper what is the meaning of feminine energy?
Feminine energy is a very beautiful, creative energy, because if you look at the woman, they give birth to the children, right? So they're literally the gates of the universe. Through woman, a new life comes into this planet. Through woman, the universe sends beautiful souls here. That's why it's very powerful, and energy that likes to create, that energy that likes to move. So women, when they don't create, they feel bad, because it's our nature to be creative. It's now our nature to do lots of creative things like dancing, singing, drawing, whatever creative task you can think of, writing poems, writing music. And when due to daily tasks or daily routine, women step out of this creative flow, she feels bad, and sooner or later it will lead her to this dark place I described, for example, when she's not going to be satisfied with her life.
I see. So what I understood now, the feminine energy is the creative energy.
Yes.
And it's not only about women. Every human has the creative energy, but as I understood from women, they have more of this energy because they are delivering and creating something new. Thank you very much. So now you mentioned that if the women are not connected with this energy, so they are going to their masculine energy and they are not feeling they are connected with themselves as well. So is it the shadow side of their feminine energy, or it means unbalanced? Can you explain more about this?
Yeah, I would call it unbalanced because each of us, and you know this because you were the one who were repeating this all the time, men and women, we also have feminine and masculine energy, so approximately it's 7 to 30%. So if you're a woman, you have 70% of female energy and 30% of masculine energy. And if you're a man, you have 70% of masculine energy and 30% of feminine energy. But when we step into the rules that energetically are not ours, we start playing, for example, masculine roles when we are women, or we give our power to somebody else if we are a man, we kind of like disbalance this percentage, and that's why different unpleasant situations might be happening in our lives.
So you said we step into our role. Is it the role of, for example, daily routine life, job, business, or this kind of roles, or is at home? Can you explain more about this?
I believe that those roles and those flows of energy, we play them everywhere, because we can't extract ourselves, we can't separate ourselves from our energy. So of course it's going to be, for example, your relationship at home, your relationship with your family, your work situation, your career, the part of the life when you express yourself. So of course usually it's influenced each of those areas.
I see. So now I understood, because of the roles of life in the job, house, everywhere, this pushing us to create imbalancing in our feminine and masculine energy. Is it right?
Well, I might speak about not very popular point now, but again, it's my view. I don't kind of like push my point of view to other people. But from what I can see from social norms and from the roles that our society creates for us, with pushing, for example, women to be an achiever, women to be a doer, it's very much masculine energy, because like female energy is being in the flow, it's actually attracting, it's radiating through the creativity. We start radiating this beautiful energy, and then woman actually can attract. She can attract without doing anything. But the society pushes, for example, be a doer. You should be the best at the university. You should do the best at your work. You should climb up this career ladder. You should achieve. And it's not completely against, but still it's masculine energy. It's a masculine activity. Those are masculine behaviors. And then when women stepped into this, they might even realize that they're doing this. And first, because this society trying to put on us these roles, most of women, they don't even ask themselves, like, do I really want to achieve this, I don't know, director position in the company? Is it even my desire? Is it my wish? Was it really planned when I was a child? For example, at which point I decided that I want to be a director of some company? So, since we are grown up and we've been raised in this society and in this kind of a propaganda machine, we get into this, but most of those actions that might not be even ours. So this balance happenings unconsciously.
Interesting. So what I understood from what you said right now, like the feminine energy is the manifesting energy, is the attracting energy, is creativity. Is that right?
Yes.
So can you explain more about those? What are the more, let's say, points from the feminine energy, like intuition, creativity, attraction, manifestation? Is there any more like this?
Yeah, for sure. So I really like that you mentioned intuition, because this is one of their forces, kind of like a skills that were more developed in women than men. And if we come back to the thousands and thousands years before, when we were not concentrated about patriarchy, when not like men were ruling the world, but it was more around the woman. That was actually one of the reasons why the society was built around women before in ancient civilization. Because if you remember Inanna and Isis, all of those beautiful goddesses, so it was all about them. And the reason was intuition, because women, they're kind of like more intuitive, they are more connected to their feelings and to their sensations. And what was happening before? Men, they were coming to a woman, when it was, for example, husband coming to a wife, and they were sharing his or their challenges or situations. And they were asking her to connect to her intuition and help them with the decision or tell them what to do. So they were coming and they were saying, okay, I have this, can you please tell me what to do? Because like men, they have a very logical structure of their brain, of their energy, right? They know how to plan everything, but women, we are more connected to our feelings, to our sensations. And of course, the woman was listening to her sixth sense and saying, oh, well, maybe there is something this and here, maybe be careful here, maybe don't go there. But then again, what happened next? it's also kind of like very empowering, but at the same time very scary, right? And then it started kind of like a little bit of confrontation. Okay, this woman, they can predict some situation, they can feel something, they are dangerous. Let's put them down a little bit. Let's put them down for them not to rule the planet and not to think that they can do everything, right? And for them not to feel their power. That's when this kind of like, I don't want to call it fight, but still tension was happening between man and woman. And I believe that since that moment, this suppression of feminine started happening slowly, and it reached its peak, for example, in the 14th and 15th and 16th century in Europe, where people were burning women because they were seeing something, they were knowing something, they were healing people with herbs, they were delivering babies. So it was very scary for some part of the society to witness this power of a feminine energy.
Very interesting. So, what I understood from you that they were burning women as magician, or they are doing magic, black magic, and just because they're scared and they try to create a separation between feminine and masculine energy?
Well, nobody knows the truth, but kind of like, if we look back at the history, it looks like that.
Interesting. So, thank you very much. There is a question most of the time I see in the internet and the social media, there is something called the shadow side of woman, the shadow feminine energy. Can you explain more about the shadow feminine energy, please?
Yeah, with the shadow side, nowadays people who are doing some spiritual practices or who are doing even meditation, at the beginning when you go into this area, most of people, they want to concentrate on light only. So I'm going to be doing all the meditation, I'm going to be like contacting only fairies and unicorns, and most people, they block themselves to actually looking into the shadow side. But the interesting thing is that if you look at this sign, yin and yang, you will see that there is like the light part and the dark part, they're equal. They're equal, they have the same size, and they kind of like interact with each other and they flow with each other. So the thing is, if you want to open more of your light side, if you fill it in with this light, you need to open up the dark side at the same progression. So you need to go deeper in your dark part to fill in your light part. And people who are brave enough, they don't fear of this side. They are not afraid of going there. Of course, at the beginning it might be a little bit unpleasant, but still there is no other way, because sooner or later, if you're even not going to go there, this shadow starts coming up. You might experience some events in your life that's going to be triggering your shadow side, and it's going to be coming up until you see it, until you recognize it, and until you accept it. But with the shadow side, there is also like a very thin line, because for example, shadow side, it might be like a toxic feminine traits, like being jealous, or trying to do a revenge, or trying to manipulate with people. It's more like a toxic femininity. But also the shadow side, it might be some dark desires. Maybe you have some deep sexuality that you were afraid to look at. Maybe you have some secret rage inside of you. So maybe something was happening in your life and you were suppressing this so much inside of you that this rage kept boiling, and you never let it out. So maybe it's still hiding there in the shadows. Maybe there is some trauma that woman was experiencing in her past, and she's also hiding them, and she's suppressing, and she's afraid to look back and look at them. So there is a huge combination of what's hiding there.
Interesting. So, for example, a woman had a trauma in her past life, in this life. She was suppressing the energy and this trauma. She was not showing this. So, do you think this trauma, if the woman is not healing this trauma or not work with it, this will create a woman who's manipulating others, who's have revenge, jealousy, and this kind of stuff, which you, as you mentioned, the shadow side shown, or the woman who's connected with the shadow side of her feminine energy is like this.
Yeah, I really like this point, and I agree that most of the toxic behaviors, they are caused by trauma. So something happened to a person, right? To act in this way. Something happened in the past. Some programs were put inside of the child mind to act like this. Maybe it was in the family when they were raised, maybe it was from the environment, maybe it was from the country, from the society. Sometimes it even might be brought from the past generation, from ancestrals. So maybe some stories were happening with grandmother, maybe some stories were happening with grandmother. And since our traumas, they are passed, they can be passed from generation to generation. Sometimes woman might carry something within her without even knowing, but it's not even her story. It's a story for grandmother or grandmother, like 4 generations back, 5 generations back. But the thing is that people who actually get deep into self-development, sooner or later they will try noticing, and they will start noticing some patterns that are repeating in their lives. For example, it might be a patterns with a man, like a man hurting her, and then she's like doing the revenge, and then she's looking for another man, and this situation continues, and it repeats and it repeats and it repeats. So on the third or on the first story, woman might think, okay, this is happening to me so many times, it must be a pattern, something there. I need to look within. I need to go down there. I need to look at the shadow side. I need to figure out what's happening there. But it also demands a bravery, because it means that you might not be as ideal as you thought. And you also, in this situation, you need to admit that maybe it's not only the fault of another person, that maybe there is something within you. So it's a very deep internal work.
So everybody is watching and listening. If you are attracting somebody similar, or you attract similar situation again and again in your life, please go back to the shadow side and check what is there and from where it came. And now I will ask you how we can go back to the shadow side and find out if we have a trauma. And you mentioned very interesting thing, this, which is maybe it's not from our life, from our generation, grandfather or grandmother who has this situation. So how we can work with this, how we can go back to that situation, how to find out, okay? And if we find out, how we can work with it and heal it.
Well, what you describe, it's a huge separate process, and it's more about healing traumas and healing generational traumas. So it's a separate topic. It should be a separate, very long recording. But shortly, what I can say how to identify this: take a journal, sit with a pen, and you can do some breathing to calm yourself down. And for example, if there is some situation that bothering you and you see that it's like repeating and repeating itself, it's repeating, sit with your journal and start first coming back in your life and start writing down, like, what was the similar thing in my life? What were the singular situation? Did I experience this with somebody else, with my previous partners, with my father, with my friends? And start writing down those stories. And usually when you start writing down, they start coming up to the surface, like a bubble. Because the moment when you have an intention to open up your trauma, you opening up this energy and it's starting coming up and it's coming up. So try and relax and write down. Try not to be agitated with emotions, or try not to relive those situations thinking, oh my God, he said me this, the bad word. So try not to allow your emotions to distract you. Just write those down, write those stories down, write them down. And then you will start noticing the patterns in your life, with patterns with people. If you want to get deeper, you might ask your mother, for example, or your father, because it might go from both lineages, from your father, from your mother. Ask your mother, for example, tell me more about relationship with men you were dating before my father. And sit with her and have a friendly conversation without telling her, for example, I'm trying to experience or explore which traumas we have in our family. No, don't do this. So tell her, tell me please about relationship you had in your life. And our mothers, they're really willing to share because they remember in their youth, so they're going to be telling you everything. And ask her, and see if she was having the same patterns. Then you can slowly ask about your grandmother, like how was the relationship with my grandmother and grandfather, what were the stories, how was the relationship with my grandmother, and then after this conversation, write everything down. And you might be surprised how many things you will start noticing are coming from your ancestors. Yeah, and then about healing the trauma, it's a completely different topic, so we're not going to be going there.
Okay, so after you find it, you need to work with this trauma and work to heal it with many healing methods.
Yes.
Okay, we already have in our channel about healing with the breathing techniques, healing traumas. You can go back to the eldest videos and find out how to heal traumas. So, interesting. The thing is that right now I wanted to just make a summation of what we understood. We understood is the feminine energy, is the intuition, is the creativity, is the attraction, is the manifestation energy. Okay, and the feelings also, you mentioned that, connecting with the feeling. And when you were mentioning like this, I remember a story. My grandfather always, he was going to my mom and he was asking her about something like, what do you feel? And it was very interesting. She was really feeling, and I remember I grew up with a mom, she's always saying, I have the sixth sense. So it was, I didn't understand what is the meaning of sixth sense. I was a child at that time. But now when you mentioned this about the ancient time, so it's, I think, intuitively, by his intuition, he was going to the feminine and asked even about business because they had no idea about it. And then we understood about what the meaning when the woman is connected with her shadow side. So she's manipulating, she's feeling jealous, she tries to revenge.
It's more like a toxic expression of shadow side, but the shadow side itself might be very healing for a woman because she's connecting to her deep desire, something hidden within her.
Nice. Then we understood if one of you is attracting something similar again and again and again, it means something connecting with the past. Maybe we experienced this, or maybe from other generations, from grandparents. Thank you very much. So, can you give us tips about how to connect more with our feminine energy?
Yes, and since our feminine energy, it doesn't matter if you are a man or a woman, it's a creative energy, it's very much connected to our sacral chakra. And if somebody doesn't know about sacral chakra is placed in our belly, and it's really connected to our creativity, and it's connected to our sexuality. It has a beautiful orange color. And every time we do something creative, we kind of like expand the energy of the sacral chakra. But the thing is that this sacral chakra is blocked by guilt. And this is actually a huge challenge, because if you again look at how our society, our school, our parents, how they raise children, guilt is being pushed on us on the day we were born. So like, when you, before the school, you are guilty for misbehaving. So your parents are going to be making you feeling guilty. Then when you're in school, you're guilty all the time. Because like any mistake that you do, you are guilty. So it's again put on you. Then when you're grown up, it's getting even more. So then you're guilty in the university, then you're guilty when you did something wrong, then you didn't reply to somebody's messenger, you are guilty. So it's like lots of guilt is pushed on us since we were born and until, let's say, in our 20s. So people in their 20s, most of them, they have a huge blockages in the sacral chakra, in the creative energy. And it might be how it shows up. For example, lots of women now, they're struggling with the women's health because of that. Because the sacral chakra, the feminine energy, was blocked by guilt. Lots of men, they also, they kind of challenge with expression their sexuality. Or they're expressing it not in the healthy way, or they're going into some toxic traits regarding their sexuality, because again, this guilt being put on all of us for such a long time. And the easiest way to release this is to start doing some creative things, to start doing something that really makes your heart sing, and you feels like you are feeling all of this pleasure and all of this satisfaction. And the challenge is that most people who are adults, they've been put into this system for such a long time that they stop doing creative things. Because if you remember when we were children, I don't know, I think maybe 80% of our time we were creating, we were playing, we were imagining something, we were creating some stories, we were drawing, we were jumping, we were dancing, we were singing. 80% of the time we were in creative mode. And now when you look at the adults, how many like creative percentages we have? Some have close to zero. Because people want to be efficient, they want to get up, they want to go to the work, do everything, then come back, clean their house, be adult. So it doesn't help. It doesn't help to activate your feminine energy within you. It doesn't help to activate your creativity. That's why if you found yourself in this group who's playing the adult's roles in such a good way that you completely forgot about your creative side, it could be very nice to sit and think about what you loved to do when you were a child. When you were like, I don't know, 15 years old, 10 years old, 8 years old, 5 years old. What were you doing? Maybe you were sitting in the garden and playing with flowers all the time. Maybe you were playing with rockets all the time. Maybe you were drawing all the time. And then when you figure out, when you remember, but then the activities that you try to remember, make sure that you really love them. Like imagine, remember this beautiful feeling when you were enjoying and the time was stopping and you were all into this beautiful bubble and you were in the beautiful, peaceful place. So this is your kind of like creative stuff.
Nice.
And start slowly implementing them back. For example, if you loved to draw, it doesn't mean that you should open a gallery. Well, maybe you should in the future. But at the beginning, like buy a sketchbook, and buy pencils and start like coloring them, I don't know, twice per week. If you love to dance, it's also start dancing every day, like 3 songs. Play your favorite songs and just dance at home. So start bringing it back.
Right. So first, we understood we need to do creative things to connect with the feminine energy. Are there more tips?
Well, the thing is that when you start doing creative things, when you start unblocking your sacral chakra, another good way is doing meditation. Because, for example, even in YouTube, Meditative Mind, the beautiful channel, they have lots of meditation that helps to unblock and activate different chakras. If you want to concentrate on your feminine energy, on your creativity, find the meditation on the sacral chakra and start doing this meditation. So you're going to be like activating this sacral energy within yourself. And when you start doing creative things, which like the type of magic that is start happening, when you do something that you love, you start activating what?
Your heart chakra.
Your heart. You start activating your heart. And the more you do the things you love, the more your heart chakra is begin activated, and you allow yourself to feel more. You allow yourself to expand more in this pleasure, in this creativity. Then again, if you activate your heart chakra and your sacral chakra, you also will start activating your voice, because you will start unblocking your throat chakra, because you when you're excited about something, right, when you really love what you do, you start talking about this to people. So you start talking about art, or maybe or something you like to do, or maybe some hobby, or maybe your plans. So you're going to be open up your throat chakra. So with this activation, you're actually activating everything else, your sensations, your feelings. And then again, if you let yourself go, right, if you let yourself expand, if you start feeling and sensing more with your touch, with your smell, with your eyes, what's it going to be activating? You're going to be activating the third eye.
Interesting. So by activating your sacral chakra, which is the second chakra, and doing the things that you love, you start activating all your chakras, means
most of them.
Interesting. Yeah. Also, if you want to go deeper about chakras, you can check. I have full program about each chakra and with the connection with each element in the channel, so you can go back to the program and check how to activate and heal your chakras. Thank you very much for all those tips. So can you please explain for us why you started Earth's Heaven and why you start working with feminine energy and woman empowerment? Because I'm sure a lot of our listeners or people who are watching the channel are questioning who's Tanya, why she's doing what she's doing. Can you explain more about this?
Thank you, Alan. Well, once I was this woman, this example that I mentioned at the beginning, the woman in her achievement stage, the woman who was running after like career, trying to get more, trying to become somebody, trying to prove something to her parents, to the society. I was a doer, and I was like, be the best in the class, be the best at the university, get a good career, start earning money, you should have this, you should have that. So I was like collecting all those things, and at some point I got everything I wanted. I was head of the department in the IT company, I had the respect, I had the house, I had money, I had a really nice career, I had a nice knowledge, I was managing in the department. But at the same time, I was so unhappy inside me. I was in such a dark place inside of me. At that point, I thought that my life is like black and white. Nothing was bringing me joy, nothing was bringing me pleasure. I was not excited about things anymore, and it felt like a complete darkness. And at that point, I was thinking like, what's wrong with me? I have everything. I have everything people ever want to have. What's wrong, right? And when you go into this dark place, the only way is the way up, right? So from that dark place, I started, like an onion with many layers. I started looking at myself and thinking like, what is not working for me? Like, what I'm ready to leave, what I'm ready to let go, to become happier, like to feel this desire to leave, to feel this passion, to feel the pleasure again. And slowly I started pulling all those layers, like leaving the toxic job, leaving the relationship where I was not happy, leaving activities that were not bringing me joy. So I was stripping all of those layers down until I started understanding like what I used to love to do before. And what I've noticed, I stopped doing the things I loved for years.
Yeah.
And at that point, I started slowly bringing them back into my life. It was not an easy process because I was completely business oriented, goals oriented for maybe 10 years or maybe more. So for me to start bringing back this creative stuff was very hard to do. And additionally to this dark side, all of this like more than 10 years, I was super achiever and super like businesswoman. I was struggling with my woman health all the time.
Interesting.
All the time I was experiencing some problems. It was also very like annoying and bothering for me. I was not in peace with my body. I was angry. I was like, what's happening? Why again? I experienced some problems. But then when I was pulling off like and leaving everything that was not working for me, so basically what happened, I start my life from zero level when I was 35, close to 36.
Nice.
And I start just collecting slowly, like in the beautiful jar, I started collecting these beautiful gemstones that were bringing me joy, remembering slowly. So it took me more than 2 years actually to come back to this pleasant feelings and pleasant sensations. So I've been there, and I can see now lots of women around me who are in the same trap, who also in this trap of achieve, do, collect something in your life, get married, have kids, have a car, who are also trapped in those norms of society that might not be theirs. And I also see deeply unhappy women. So my vision was like, I would like really to create something, an organization that gonna be like a shining light to women who are so deep into this stuff, and they need some guiding light to show them that they can get out, they can come back to their feminine power, they can be happy, they can achieve something else, like they can become creative, they can become feminine again. So it's not the end of their life, right? Yeah. So that's how the idea of Eve's Heaven appeared, and the big vision is to have Eve's Heaven centers all over the world when women can come and they can do some creative stuff, they can do art therapy, they can do meditation, they can attend women's circles when they're going to be coming back to their creative and feminine energy, and to help them to have this secure space with other women who are on the same journey.
Very beautiful. I really love this vision and this mission you are in. So if the listeners want to connect with you and want to know more about your services, and are you active right now, where you are doing your activities right now around the world, how the women can join you, can connect with you, can you explain more about this?
Yes, so you can read more about the organization on the website eheavens.org. And now we are doing retreats mostly in Turkey because there's a beautiful weather here and the nature is so inspiring, and it's also very soul nourishing, and it's also very warm here. So we're doing ladies retreats here in Turkey in the beautiful, amazing places surrounded by mountains near the seaside. Usually we do ladies weekends and it's 3 days when women get together, they connect. We do beautiful practices on opening our voice, on opening our sacral chakra, with releasing things that we no longer need, and becoming more open and to get into this expansion state to attract the things that we want. And it's very interesting how, for example, when women come, usually it's Friday, Sunday, 3 days. So when women come on Friday, you even can see that some women, they have this tension in their body, in their shoulders, and they are like really, really tense. And then at the end of the day 3, you see them dancing, you see them singing, you see them attracting beautiful things. Because the funny thing's happening that even when we are doing our practicing during those days, beautiful things started coming to us. We attract beautiful people, we start meeting amazing souls, we start receiving things for free. People want to buy something. For example, in the restaurant, they offer free coffee, free tea. They invite us to come. So it's very visible. And people also feel this, feminine energy rising up.
So beautiful, thank you. What about if the people that have some questions or they want to connect with you directly? How they can connect you or follow you? Do you have an Instagram page?
Yes.
Do you have maybe another social media page?
Yes, and I have an Instagram page, so you can find me on Instagram and the name Tania.lushchuk, and I think that maybe in the description you can post the link to the Instagram page.
Of course, we will add the link of the Eve's Heaven and Instagram page in the description. So if you are thinking or you want to connect directly with Tania, if you have some question, or if you are a woman want to join women's circles and at Eve's Heaven, you can find the links in the description. Thank you very much, Tania. Thank you for joining us today. And it was really a pleasure to have you today here.
Thank you so much, Alan. And I'm really happy that now we have masculine like you who are ready to open up those conversations, who are ready to listen, who are ready to share this information. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.